It was the coldest Christmas Eve Pine Grove had ever seen, until a mysterious silver wolf appeared from the snowy mountains. They said he was just a legend, but he saved her life, and what he hid beneath the fur would change everything. This is the story of the wolf who saved Christmas Eve, and a girl who wasn't ready for the truth. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more stories like this one. Let's begin. Snow fell gently over Pine Grove Village, turning every rooftop into soft white pillows. Christmas Eve had always been the happiest night of the year, and Hannah Whitlock could feel that familiar excitement in the air as she hurried down the street with a basket of warm gingerbread cookies in her hands. The town square was glowing. Strings of golden fairy lights wrapped around tall pine trees, lanterns flickered in the wind, and children ran around laughing as they chased each other through the snow. Hannah smiled to herself. Christmas Eve was her favorite day, not because of the lights or the music, but because everyone, even the grumpy townspeople, seemed a little softer. Her bakery, Hannah's Hearth, stood right at the corner of the square. When she pushed the door open, the smell of cinnamon, honey, and warm bread filled the air instantly. Finally, her friend Clara Bennett rushed to her. "The mayor is asking for more pastries. Those children ate everything." Hannah laughed and placed the basket of gingerbread on the counter. "I made extra. Let them eat all they want. It's Christmas." Clara sighed dramatically. "You're too kind. If I owned this bakery, I'd be strict." "No, you wouldn't," Hannah teased. "You just pretend to be strict while feeding them secretly." Clara huffed, but she didn't deny it. Hannah reached for a tray of freshly baked rolls when the little bell above the door jingled. She turned just in time to see an old man walk in, wrapped in a thick coat, snow on his shoulders. "Evening, Mr. Dawson," Hannah greeted warmly. "Cold outside." "Colder than usual," the old man muttered as he dusted off snow. "Feels strange tonight, like something is coming." Clara shot Hannah a look that clearly said, "Here he goes again." Mr. Dawson was known for his odd predictions, but Hannah always listened kindly. "What do you mean?" she asked. The old man leaned closer. "The forest is restless. The wolves. They're louder this winter." Clara tried not to roll her eyes. "Sir, it's Christmas. Let's not scare everyone." But Hannah frowned a little. She had heard howling last night. Long, haunting cries that floated through the trees like warnings from the wind. Before she could ask more, the mayor burst into the bakery. "Hannah, thank goodness. We need more pies for the event." "I'll deliver them soon," she replied. He glanced around nervously. "And please hurry. People say they heard wolves again. I don't want anyone panicking. Tonight must stay peaceful." Hannah nodded, though worry tugged at her chest. By evening, the bakery was finally closed, and Hannah stepped outside with warm pies packed in boxes. The night sky glittered with stars, and a gentle wind brushed against her cheeks. Children lit sparklers. Women hung ribbons. Men arranged firewood for the Christmas bonfire. Everything felt perfect. Still, she couldn't shake the strange tightness in her stomach. As she walked toward her house to get her coat, her younger brother, Daniel, ran up to her. "Hannah, Miss Rosa said Santa might come early." Hannah laughed softly. "Well, then you better sleep early or he'll skip you." "I'm not scared." Daniel puffed his tiny chest. Hannah knelt and brushed snow from his hair. "Go home, Danny. Stay close to Mom." He saluted playfully and ran off. Hannah stood there a moment, watching him disappear around the street corner. A sudden gust of wind blew harder than before, almost knocking the breath from her chest. The lights flickered. An uneasy silence spread. Even the music from the marketplace faded out. Her heart thumped. It felt like the entire night was holding its breath. "Maybe Mr. Dawson was just imagining things," she whispered, trying to calm herself. But deep inside she knew something was wrong. Something unseen was moving in the shadows of the forest. Something watching. The first scream came so suddenly that Hannah dropped the box of pies. A woman's voice, sharp, terrified, echoing across the square. Hannah spun around. What was that? People paused in the middle of their Christmas preparations. Some turned toward the sound. Others looked confused. Then came the second scream. This one was closer. Clara rushed out of the bakery, eyes wide. Hannah! Something's happening. People are running from the north side. Shouts rose. Doors slammed. Children cried. In seconds, the peaceful Christmas Eve turned into complete chaos. Hannah saw shapes moving through the snow. Dark, fast, low to the ground. Wolves. Clara whispered, voice shaking. But these weren't normal wolves. They were larger, bulkier. Their eyes glowed unnaturally bright in the darkness. Rogues. Realizing it, Hannah felt her blood turn to ice. Someone shouted, "Close the gates. Get the children inside." But it was too late. The wolves charged through the square, knocking over tables and tearing down decorations. One villager cried, "They've never come this close before." Another yelled, "Get your families. Run." Hannah's first instinct was to find her brother. "Daniel!" she screamed, pushing through the scattering crowd. Clara grabbed her arm. "Hannah, wait. It's dangerous. I have to find him." She broke free and ran through the square. Snow swirled around her feet as she dodged fleeing people. She heard growls behind her, low, deep, heart-stopping. She didn't look back. "Daniel! Danny, answer me!" She turned the corner and saw him standing at the edge of the road, frozen in fear as a rogue wolf approached him slowly, teeth bared. "No!" Hannah whispered, breath trembling. The wolf crouched, ready to leap. "Danny! Run!" she screamed. He snapped out of his shock and sprinted toward her, crying, "Hannah!" She reached him quickly and pulled him behind her. "Go to Mom. Don't stop running. Hannah, go!" He obeyed, running toward their house. Hannah turned just in time to see the wolf charging at her. She stumbled backward, slipping on ice. Her heart pounded so loudly she couldn't hear anything else. The wolf lunged. A hand grabbed her arm. "Move!" It was Mr. Dawson. He pulled her aside as the wolf crashed into a wooden cart instead. "Get somewhere safe," he yelled. But Hannah shook her head. "I need to find my family." Mr. Dawson pushed her. "Go!" Hannah ran. The air smelled of smoke. Something was burning. She could hear villagers crying, windows breaking, wolves snarling. The peaceful Christmas Eve she loved was gone. She reached her house, but the front door was wide open. Inside, things were knocked over. Chairs broken. Curtains torn. "Mom! Daniel!" she shouted. No answer. Panic clawed up her throat. A sound behind her made her turn. A rogue wolf blocked the doorway. Its fur was dark, matted, and its eyes glowed with a sickly yellow light. Hannah backed away. "No, no, please." The wolf growled deeply and stepped closer. She grabbed the only thing near her, a metal candle stand, and held it in front of her with shaking hands. "Stay back." But her voice cracked. The wolf snarled, crouching to attack. Without thinking, Hannah bolted through the back door, running into the bitter night. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she had to escape. The wolf chased her. She could hear it breathing heavily behind her, its paws pounding the snow-covered ground. Help!" she screamed. No answer. The street was empty. Everyone had either run or hidden. Hannah slipped again, her knee hitting the ground painfully. She winced but tried to get up. Too late. The wolf was right behind her. She felt its shadow fall over her. She squeezed her eyes shut. "This is it," she whispered. But before the wolf could reach her, a blur of silver shot across the snow. A massive wolf, bigger, stronger, breathtakingly fast, collided with the rogue, sending it tumbling in the snow. Hannah gasped. The new wolf didn't look wild or sick. He had shining silver fur that glowed under the moonlight, and eyes like frozen blue flames, piercing, alive, intelligent. He growled, a deep, powerful sound that made the rogue whimper. He attacked with precision and strength, pushing the rogue away from Hannah. Their bodies crashed together again and again, kicking up snow in violent waves. Hannah crawled backward, heart racing, watching in terrified amazement. The rogue wolf finally ran off into the night, injured. The silver wolf slowly turned to her. She froze. He took a step closer. Even though he was enormous, she didn't feel fear like before. Instead, she felt strangely safe. His glowing blue eyes softened. Not threatening but protective. Hello, she whispered without thinking. The wolf tilted his head slightly, studying her, like he understood every word. She tried to stand but groaned. Her knee throbbed. She staggered. The wolf stepped toward her quickly, lowering himself. Hannah blinked. What are you doing? He nudged her gently with his head, urging her to climb onto his back. I don't understand, she whispered. You want to help me. The wolf huffed softly. She hesitated only a moment before placing her hands on his warm fur. Slowly, shakily, she climbed onto his back. The wolf stood tall, secure, steady. And without another second wasted, he ran, carrying her away from the burning, crumbling village, into the snowy mountains, toward a fate she never imagined. The world blurred into streaks of white and gray as the silver wolf sprinted through the forest with Hannah on his back. She clung to his thick fur, her fingers numb from the cold and fear. Snow whipped past her face, sharp like tiny needles, but the wolf's steady warmth kept her from collapsing. His movements were unbelievably fast, too fast for any normal animal. He leaped fallen logs without slowing and wove between trees like he'd memorized every inch of the forest. Hannah didn't know where he was taking her. All she knew was that she was alive, and it was because of him. Her mind raced back to the attack, the screams, the smoke, the glowing yellow eyes of the rogue wolves. The image of her little brother's terrified face flashed in her mind, and tears filled her eyes. Please be safe, she whispered into the wind. Daniel. Mom, please be safe. The wolf's ear twitched as if he heard her. She wasn't sure if that meant anything, but the tiny reaction made her cling tighter. They ran deeper into the mountains, far from Pine Grove village. Soon, Hannah noticed something strange. The howls of the rogues, loud only minutes ago, were fading. It felt as if the silver wolf was taking her to a place rogue wolves wouldn't dare reach. Eventually, the wolf slowed, paws crunching softly in fresh snow. Hannah lifted her head, trying to see through the darkening forest. A large cliff rose ahead, its rocky face covered in layers of ice. At the base of the cliff was a narrow opening, almost hidden by cascading snow. The wolf approached it and lowered himself gently so she could slide off. Hannah's legs were shaky when she tried to stand. As soon as her feet touched the ground, her knees buckled. "Ah, wait," she gasped. Before she could fall, the wolf pressed his body against her side, steadying her. "Thank you," she whispered, breath forming small clouds in the air. He guided her toward the hidden opening with gentle nudges of his head. Hannah hesitated at the entrance. It was darker inside, and she could feel a soft draft of warm air coming from within, strange but comforting. The wolf stepped inside first and looked back at her, as if saying, "Trust me." She took a deep breath and followed. Inside, the cave was nothing like she expected. Instead of a damp, cold hole in the mountain, the walls glowed faintly blue, reflecting light from clusters of crystals embedded in the rock. Frozen streams of ice shimmered like glass, but the air was warm, almost cozy. "How is it warm?" Hannah whispered. The wolf didn't answer, of course, but he walked deeper into the cave until they reached a wide chamber lit by bright moonlight from a small hole in the ceiling. Snowflakes drifted through the hole, melting before they hit the floor. The sight was magical, like a secret world untouched by danger. The wolf circled around and lay down a few feet away, watching her with calm blue eyes. Hannah slowly sank to her knees, finally letting exhaustion wash over her. Her entire body trembled as she hugged her arms around herself. What is happening tonight?" she murmured. "Why did the rogues attack? Why did you save me?" The wolf lowered his head, as if saddened by her fear. Hannah's voice cracked. My family. Hope they're safe. I hope Daniel ran far enough. Her lip quivered and tears spilled down her cheeks. For a long moment, the wolf simply watched her cry. Then, unexpectedly, he stood and approached her slowly. So slowly she realized he was trying not to scare her. When he reached her, he curled around her protectively, resting his head near her feet. Hannah gasped softly. He wasn't threatening her. He was comforting her. Why do I feel like you understand me? She whispered, wiping her face. The wolf blinked slowly. She reached out a shaky hand and touched his fur. It was soft and warm, thicker than any wolf she'd seen. The moment her fingers brushed him, a strange feeling passed through her, like calmness flooding her tired heart. You saved my life, she whispered. I don't know why, but thank you. The wolf's ear flicked and his tail moved just slightly, almost like he was relieved. Hannah leaned her head against the cave wall, exhausted. Outside, faint howls echoed in the distance, but inside the cave, everything felt safe, strangely safe. The silver wolf lay beside her, his body a shield of warmth. As her eyes grew heavy, she whispered one last thought. Who are you? But she was asleep before she could hear the answer. Hannah woke slowly, feeling warmth against her side. For a moment, she imagined she was in her bed back home, wrapped in blankets, with sunlight peeking through her window. But when she opened her eyes, she saw crystal walls glowing softly. The cave. The memories hit her instantly. The attack, the chase, the wolf. She sat up quickly. The silver wolf was still there, lying a few feet away, watching her with alert, bright eyes. Gee, good morning, she said awkwardly, even though it wasn't morning. She couldn't tell what time it was. The moonlight still shone through the ceiling hole. The wolf blinked, as if amused. Right, you're a wolf. You don't care about greetings, she muttered. Her stomach growled, embarrassing her. She hadn't eaten since hours before the attack. The wolf stood, stretched his massive body, and padded toward a small corner of the cave. He nudged something forward with his nose, a pile of dried berries and roots. Hannah's eyebrows lifted. She looked at him. He looked back. You got this for me. The wolf nodded. He gasped. You nodded. You actually nodded. The wolf huffed, almost like he was laughing. Hannah ate slowly, grateful even though the food was unfamiliar. She watched the wolf the entire time. He was unlike any creature she'd ever seen. Tall, powerful, graceful. His fur shimmered like silver fire. His eyes. Those eyes held intelligence, awareness, emotion. Not just an animal, something more. When she finished eating, she tried standing. Her knee still hurt and she winced. The wolf walked over and nudged her gently from behind, helping her balance. Thank you, she whispered again. He sat down in front of her, close enough that she could feel his warm breath. Hannah took a steady breath. I need to know what you are. She reached out and lightly touched his fur again. This time, the strange calmness she felt last night returned, but stronger. Her heartbeat slowed, her fear faded, and her entire body relaxed. The wolf stepped closer, pressing his forehead gently against her shoulder. Hannah froze. It wasn't a wild gesture. It was affectionate. Why do you care so much? She whispered. The wolf didn't move, only breathed quietly against her. Her throat tightened. Are you alone too? The wolf lifted his head, looking at her with unexpected sadness. Hannah swallowed. I can't stay here forever. I need to go back. My family, they need me. The wolf's expression shifted instantly. Eyes sharp, worried. Don't look at me like that, she said softly. I'm not saying I'm leaving right now. He stood and walked toward the cave entrance, blocking it with his body. Hannah blinked. Wait. You don't want me to leave? He stared at her, unmoving. Why? She whispered. The wolf lowered his head, ears flattening slightly, a posture of fear, not aggression. Hannah's chest tightened. You're afraid for me. He blinked. That was enough to tell her the truth. She stepped closer, placing her hand gently on his head. It's okay. I'm not going right this second. I just need to know they're alive. The wolf's eyes softened, but he didn't move away from the entrance. Hannah sighed and backed up. All right. I'll rest more. She settled onto a soft patch of moss. The wolf approached and curled beside her, resting his head close to her lap. Hannah hesitated, then slowly placed a hand on his fur. The wolf closed his eyes, relaxed. I don't know why I trust you, she whispered. But I do. Minutes passed. Maybe hours. Hannah lost track of time as she sat gently stroking the wolf's fur. Then a sound made her jump. Snow shifting outside. A step. Low. Heavy. Long. The wolf's eyes snapped open. Rogue wolves. Hannah's breath caught. They found us. The silver wolf stepped in front of her, glowing blue eyes turning sharp, fierce, lethal. A deep growl rumbled in his chest, a warning, a promise, a threat. Hannah's heart raced as shadows moved outside the cave entrance. The rogues stopped at the snow, and then slowly they backed away. They didn't dare enter. Hannah gasped. They're scared of you. The silver wolf straightened, proud and powerful. Hannah looked at him with new eyes. You're not a normal wolf, are you? He didn't answer. But the truth sat heavy in the air between them. He was more than a savior, more than a wolf, something ancient, something royal, something dangerous. Hannah shivered, not in fear but in awe. Who are you? She whispered again. This time, the wolf looked directly into her eyes. And for a moment, just a moment, Hannah felt like he wanted to tell her. She didn't know it yet. But the man behind the wolf was watching her with a heart he thought he'd never use again. Hannah didn't know how long she slept the second time. The cave felt warm and safe, and for the first time since the attack, she slept without nightmares. But when she finally woke up, something felt different. The silver wolf wasn't lying beside her. She sat up quickly, heart pounding. Hello. Are you here? Her voice echoed through the glowing cave. No answer. The air felt strangely still, as if holding its breath. She stood shakily, her knees still sore but stronger than yesterday. She walked a few steps deeper into the cave, calling softly. Silver wolf. Where did you go? Still no sign. Cold fear crept into her stomach. Had he left her? Had something happened? Then she heard it. Snow crunching softly near the entrance. He turned. A figure stepped into the glowing chamber. Not a wolf. Man. Hannah's breath caught in her throat. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and dressed in torn, dark clothing dusted with snow. His hair was black but shone silver at the tips, messy from the wind. His skin was pale from the cold, and long scars ran across his forearms. But what terrified and froze her most were his eyes. Icy glowing blue. The same blue as the silver wolf. He stood still, chest rising and falling gently as he looked at her. Hannah's body trembled. Her lips parted, but no words came. Her mind raced through endless questions, but she couldn't speak. He took one careful step forward. She stepped back instantly. Stay away. He froze, hands lifting slightly, showing he meant no harm. His voice when it came was deep. Wuff. Don't be afraid. Hannah's heart pounded harder. That voice. She had heard something like it in her dreams, echoing inside her mind. Who are you? She whispered. The man swallowed, his blue eyes lowering for a moment. My name is Lucas. The name hit her like a spark. Lucas. He looked familiar somehow, like a name whispered by the wind, or a memory she didn't fully have. But another thought finally screamed its way to the front of her mind. Where's the wolf? She asked quickly. The silver wolf who saved me. Where is he? Lucas went still. Silence spread across the cave until he finally spoke. You already know. Her blood turned cold. No, she whispered, stepping back. No. That's impossible. He took another slow, careful step toward her. I'm him, Hannah. Her knees nearly gave out. Her breath trembled violently. Her mind refused to believe it. You're lying, she said weakly. Wolves can't turn into men. Lucas finished quietly. His eyes softened but didn't lose their sharp glow. I wish I were lying. It would make your life easier. Hannah shook her head, backing away until her back hit the cave wall. No, that can't be real. That's a story for children, not. Lucas stopped walking, giving her space. Look at my eyes, he said quietly. She tried not to, but she did. The same glowing blue. The same warmth. The same sadness. It was him. Hannah covered her mouth with shaking hands. A soft sound escaped her, a mix of shock and fear. Lucas looked away as if ashamed. I didn't want you to find out like this, he said, voice low. You were afraid. I didn't want to add to it. Hannah sank slowly to the ground, her legs refusing to support her. Lucas approached again, slowly lowering himself and sitting a few feet in front of her. Close enough to reach her, but far enough not to scare her. He held her gaze gently. Ask me anything. The cave was too quiet, too intimate, too full of danger and safety at the same time. Hannah swallowed hard. Are you a human? He hesitated. Yes, but not just human. What does that mean? Lucas exhaled deeply. I'm a werewolf. The word felt heavy, forbidden. Hannah pressed her hand against her racing heart. She had heard stories, old tales told by travelers, warnings from elders. None felt real until now. You saved me, she whispered. Lucas nodded. You protected me, she added. He nodded again. You carried me here. You comforted me. Lucas's eyes lowered, as if embarrassed. Yes. Why? She asked softly. Why me? Lucas didn't answer immediately. He rubbed a hand across his jaw, struggling with his thoughts. Because I couldn't let you die, he finally said. No one else can know you're alive. If the rogues find out, they'll try again. Why? Why me? She repeated, voice cracking. Lucas stared at the cave floor for a long time. Then he whispered. You smell like a true Luna. Hannah blinked. I don't know what that means. Lucas lifted his gaze. It means your life is worth more than you know. Her heart raced harder. She didn't understand any of this. But somehow, she trusted him. Not fully, but enough. Lucas stood and offered his hand to help her up. She hesitated. He lowered it again slowly, as if careful not to push her. You don't have to trust me yet, he said quietly. You just have to stay alive. And for that, staying with me is the safest choice. His voice was calm, but underneath it was something darker, something lonely, something bruised, something broken. Hannah took a shaky breath. Why do you live here alone? She asked. Lucas's jaw tightened. Because exile is the price I pay for being born. She didn't understand, but something inside her softened. Lucas looked away, shoulders tense, and said nothing more. Hannah sat by the glowing crystal wall while Lucas paced a few steps away, restless. Every few minutes, he glanced toward the cave entrance, listening for danger. His body moved with quiet power, too graceful for a normal man. Hannah watched him, still trying to understand what he really was. At last she whispered, What happened to you? Lucas stopped pacing. He didn't turn around. You don't need to know, he said quietly. But I want to know. He flinched slightly at her words, like he wasn't used to anyone wanting to understand him. Hannah shifted, wincing at the pain in her knee. Lucas turned instantly, his expression sharpening with concern. You're hurt, he said, walking toward her. It's just a bruise, she whispered. He knelt in front of her, taking her leg gently. His touch was warm, steady. Hannah froze. Lucas looked up, reading her fear. I won't hurt you. She nodded, breath shaking. He examined her knee with surprising care, fingers gentle. You need rest. No running for a while. I didn't plan to run, she replied softly. Lucas's eyes flickered with something unreadable, something almost human. He stood again and turned away. But Hannah wasn't done. Lucas, tell me who you really are. He stiffened. Please. His shoulders slowly lowered. He exhaled deeply, defeated. He walked toward the edge of the cave, where moonlight spilled onto the stone, highlighting the sharp lines of his face. He looked powerful and lonely. Finally he spoke. I'm the son of the former Alpha King of the Hail Moon Pack. Hannah's breath caught. You're what? Lucas continued, voice quiet but heavy. I was born to lead, trained to protect, groomed to inherit the pack. He looked at his hands. I believed every lesson, every promise. He swallowed hard, eyes darkening. But not all wolves want a rightful king. Hannah hugged her arms around herself as he continued. When I was 18, the rogues attacked our pack. It was a massacre. Someone betrayed us from within. Someone who wanted the throne. Your uncle, Hannah guessed softly. Lucas's jaw clenched. Yes, Alpha Rowan. He framed me for the attack, made it look like I ordered the rogues. Hannah gasped. That's horrible. Lucas stared at the icy floor. My own pack turned against me. They chased me from the territory. My uncle took the throne while I disappeared. Hannah's heart twisted painfully. You lived alone. All this time. Lucas nodded once. Exile is the punishment for a traitor. And the world believed I was one. But you didn't betray anyone. No, he whispered. But the truth didn't matter. Power won. Silence fell. A deep aching silence. Hannah's eyes softened. Lucas, you were just a boy. A boy who was supposed to be a king, he said bitterly. He moved deeper into the cave, pacing again. The rogues still hunt me. They want me dead so I never reclaim what's mine. And they attacked my village because... Lucas met her eyes. They sensed you. Hannah blinked. Me. You carry the scent of a true Luna. Rare, powerful, destined for an alpha. He paused. You're important. Her heart thumped painfully in her chest. That can't be right, she whispered. I'm just a baker. A simple girl. Lucas shook his head firmly. No, there is nothing simple about you. I knew it the moment I smelled your scent in the snow. Hannah looked away, overwhelmed. Lucas stepped closer, his voice soft. The rogues weren't after your village. They were after you. Her chest tightened. She felt dizzy. So you rescued me because I'm some kind of chosen person. Lucas's eyes darkened. No, I rescued you because I couldn't watch you die. His voice dropped softer. Not you. Hannah's breath caught again. She looked up at him slowly. Lucas, do you protect everyone like that? He froze. His jaw tightened. His fists clenched. No, he whispered. Only you. The words hit her like a soft blow. Before she could speak, Lucas turned away as if ashamed. I shouldn't have said that. Why not? Because you already fear me. Hannah's voice softened. I'm not afraid of you, Lucas. He turned slowly. His blue eyes flickered with disbelief. You were afraid earlier. Yes, but now. I'm trying to understand. Lucas looked at her for a long time, like no one had ever said that to him before. Hannah held his gaze. You saved me. You gave me food, warmth, safety. If you wanted to harm me, you had many chances. Lucas swallowed hard, chest rising sharply. Hannah, I'm dangerous. You're also kind. He stared at her like the word kind was something he had never been called. His voice came out almost broken. Why are you defending me? Because you deserve someone to. Lucas closed his eyes, breathing deeply as if her words shook something deep inside him. When he opened them again, his expression had changed. Often, vulnerable. Hannah, he whispered. She waited. You're the first person in years who doesn't look at me like a monster. Hannah's heart ached. Not out of fear, but out of sympathy for the lonely man in front of her. She stepped toward him slowly. He didn't move. He only watched her with those piercing blue eyes. She reached out and touched his hand gently, barely a brush of her fingers. Lucas inhaled sharply, almost flinching at the unfamiliar gentleness. It's okay, she whispered. I believe you. Lucas looked at her hand touching his, and for the first time in years, he allowed himself to believe something he thought he'd never feel again. Oh. Hannah awoke to a soft glow filling the cave. The moonlight had shifted, spilling through the ceiling hole and illuminating the sparkling crystals along the walls. She rubbed her eyes, trying to shake off the remnants of sleep, but something felt different. Lucas was awake too, pacing slowly near the cave entrance. His eyes flickered over her every few seconds, sharp and alert, as if he could sense every heartbeat, every thought. Hannah shivered, not from the cold, but from a strange fluttering in her chest. There was a tension between them now, one that had nothing to do with danger and everything to do with something unspoken. Finally, she broke the silence. Lucas, why did you say I'm a true Luna? What does it mean? Lucas paused, his hand brushing against a crystal unintentionally. The soft blue light reflected in his icy eyes, making him look almost ethereal. It means, you have a gift, he said carefully. A power that can balance the pack. Not just mine. Any pack you touch. You carry the scent of something rare. Something ancient. Hannah's brow furrowed. A power. Me. I'm just a baker. A normal girl from Pine Grove. How can I have a power? Lucas slowly approached her, careful to keep his steps silent on the icy floor. Normal doesn't mean unimportant. It's not something you choose. The scent, the gift. It's in you. The rogues attacked your village because of it. They can sense it. And they want to destroy what they can't control. Hannah swallowed hard, her mind spinning. Oh, I'm in danger because of who I am. Lucas nodded, his expression tightening. Yes, and I can't let anything happen to you. Hannah's heart ached as she realized the weight of what he said. You've already risked your life for me, more than once. Why care so much about someone like me? Lucas froze, as if her question startled him. For a long moment he didn't answer. Then his voice came quietly. Because I couldn't watch you die. Not again. And maybe because I've never met anyone like you. Hannah felt warmth flood her chest. Her throat tightened. She wanted to speak, to ask him why he looked at her like that, why his eyes softened when he saw her. But before she could, a sudden sound outside the cave froze them both. Snow shifted violently near the entrance. A deep growl echoed through the mountains. Hannah's stomach dropped. The rogues, she whispered. Lucas's entire body tensed. He stepped in front of her instantly, a silent wall of protection. They've found us. Hannah's heart pounded. She wanted to run, to hide, but Lucas's presence made her feel safe. Strange, considering the danger. The growl came closer, sharper this time. Hannah could see shadows moving beyond the entrance. They'll come in, she said softly, gripping the edge of the crystal wall. Lucas didn't speak. He crouched slightly, preparing for attack. His fur shimmered under the moonlight. His muscles coiled like a spring. Then, slowly, the transformation began. Hannah gasped as she saw the change, fur spreading across his body, his hands elongating into claws, the size of the wolf growing until he towered over her. But it wasn't fear that rose in her chest. It was awe. The silver wolf from the night of the attack was back. Only now she understood. This was Lucas. The man and the wolf were one. The rogues hesitated at the entrance, sensing the power emanating from him. You don't need to fight, Hannah whispered, stepping closer. I'm here. Lucas turned, his eyes meeting hers even as his wolf form loomed over her. The blue fire in them softened for just a moment. "You're brave," he said, voice echoing both in his wolf form and human memory. "More than anyone I've ever met." Hannah swallowed. Her chest thumped painfully. "I don't know why, but I think I trust you." He exhaled, a puff of warm mist in the cold air. "Then stay close. Don't let go of me." And with that the rogues lunged. Lucas moved with breathtaking speed, taking down each rogue with precision. Hannah felt her stomach tighten at every clash, every growl, every leap. The wolves were larger than she remembered, their eyes wild, their teeth sharp, but Lucas was unstoppable. As he fought, Hannah realized the weight of his exile, the burden he carried alone. He wasn't just a warrior. He was a protector, a guardian, a king without a throne. When the last rogue retreated into the forest, defeated, Lucas lowered his head, still glowing faintly under the moonlight. Hannah stepped forward, placing her hands on his fur. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. "You saved my village again." Lucas shifted back to his human form slowly, the glow fading from his eyes. He looked at her, exhausted, and said quietly, "Not just your village, you." Hannah's heart thumped as she realized what he meant. The cave was quiet after the battle, the only sound the soft drip of melted snow from the ceiling. Hannah sat on the icy floor, hugging her knees. Lucas stood nearby, still catching his breath, eyes scanning the forest outside. She looked at him, hesitant but determined. "Lucas, I need to go back." He froze. "What?" "My village, my family. They don't know I'm alive. Have to get back. I can't just stay here forever." Lucas's jaw tightened. He walked closer, his shadow falling over her. "You can't go back," he said softly. "Not yet. The rogues will follow you. You'll be in more danger." Hannah met his gaze, her own eyes firm. "I understand the danger. But I can't let fear decide everything. My family, my people, they need me." Lucas's eyes softened, but he shook his head. "Then I'll go with you." Hannah's heart skipped. "No, Lucas. I can't ask you to put yourself in danger again. Not after tonight." He stepped closer, hands raised in surrender. "I'm not asking. I'm telling. You won't go alone." Her chest tightened. She wanted to argue, to say no, but something in his voice silenced her. That fierce, unwavering loyalty. The kind she had never seen from anyone. She took a deep breath. "Then, if we go, we have to make a pact." Lucas tilted his head, curious. "What kind of pact?" "You protect me, and I trust you. Not just as a wolf, not just as a man, but as someone I can rely on." He considered her words for a moment, then nodded. "You have it." Hannah reached out her hand slowly. "Promise me, Lucas. No secrets, no lies. If we're going to face this together, we do it honestly." He looked down at her hand, then back at her eyes, and finally, his own hand touched hers. "I promise." The contact sent a jolt through her chest. Simple, human, warm. She realized that despite the danger, despite the fear, despite everything, she wasn't afraid. Lucas's eyes softened. "You're brave, Hannah. Stronger than you know." She smiled faintly. "And you're more than a wolf. You're everything I didn't know I needed." His jaw tightened, and he looked away, but Hannah could see the faintest blush on his cheeks, the smallest vulnerability. Outside, the wind howled, and the snow fell heavier, blanketing the mountains in white. But inside the cave, something new had formed. Trust, understanding, and a bond neither could deny. Hannah took a deep breath. "Then, tomorrow we go back. Together." Lucas nodded. His eyes flickered with determination. "Together." Hannah stood, brushing the snow from her coat, feeling a courage she hadn't known she possessed. Lucas stepped beside her, silent and powerful, ready to face whatever came next. She glanced back toward the glowing crystals, toward the quiet warmth of the cave that had protected them. For the first time, she realized that whatever happened next, she wouldn't face it alone. Lucas looked down at her, and in his eyes she saw a promise, a silent vow that no matter the danger, he would be her shield. And, Lucas? She asked softly. Yes. Thank you for saving me. Not just tonight but for everything. He only nodded, but the faintest curve of a smile crossed his lips. Together they stepped toward the cave entrance. The snowstorm raged outside, but inside they were ready. Not just to survive but to fight, to protect, to reclaim what was theirs. For Hannah, it was no longer just Christmas Eve. It was the beginning of a destiny she couldn't yet fully understand, but one she would face with Lucas at her side. And for Lucas, for the first time in years, he felt something he thought he had lost forever: hope. The mountains echoed with a silent promise of what was coming, and the storm outside could not touch the bond forming between the lost Alpha and the girl marked by destiny. Snow fell heavier now, a blizzard sweeping through the mountains as Hannah and Lucas descended toward Pine Grove Village. The wind cut through her coat, and her cheeks burned red, but she clung to Lucas tightly. His hand rested protectively on her back, and she felt a calm steadiness she had never known. "Are you sure this is safe?" she asked, voice muffled against the storm. Lucas's icy blue eyes met hers, glowing faintly even in human form. "It's the only way. The rogues may have retreated, but they will come back. Pine Grove needs to see me, to know the truth." Hannah shivered but nodded. The village awaited, and with it, the truth she was too afraid to face, but too brave to ignore. By the time they reached the outskirts, the first signs of damage became clear. Broken doors, toppled carts, and scattered decorations painted a picture of chaos. Smoke still drifted from the mayor's house, and footprints marked the paths of fleeing villagers. Hannah's stomach tightened. She had left her family behind in the storm. Were they safe? Were they hiding, terrified? Lucas's hand tightened around hers. "Stay close. Don't run ahead." They entered the village cautiously. Lucas's presence was commanding, yet hidden, almost like a shadow among the snowflakes. Villagers peeked from behind doors and windows, fear evident in their eyes. They whispered to each other, "The wolf, the silver wolf, is he back?" One villager, Mr. Dawson, stepped forward, shaking his head. "It's him," he whispered to a group of neighbors. "The one they said was gone." Hannah's breath caught. She realized the villagers had believed Lucas dead, or worse, a monster. Now they saw him returning, alive, powerful, and undeniably protective. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the main square. Shadows shifted, and the rogue wolves, regrouped, emerged from the forest edge. Their eyes burned yellow in the snowstorm, teeth bared. They circled, hunting, calculating. Hannah's heart pounded. "Lucas, they're here." Lucas's expression hardened. He didn't shift yet, not just yet, but his eyes glimmered with a warning blue light. "Stay behind me," he commanded softly. The rogues lunged, but before they could reach the village, Lucas's body shifted in a blur. Within seconds, he transformed into the silver wolf, massive and powerful, towering above the snow. Fur glistened like frozen moonlight, eyes burning with a supernatural intensity. Hannah gasped, awe mixing with fear. She had never seen anything so magnificent and terrifying. The silver wolf leaped toward the rogues, moving with impossible speed. Each strike was precise, each movement a perfect balance of power and strategy. One rogue lunged from the side, but Lucas anticipated it, sidestepping and sending it tumbling into a snowdrift. Hannah stepped back instinctively, clutching her coat. Yet, despite the chaos, she couldn't help but marvel at the wolf who had saved her life once before. He was not just fighting for survival, he was fighting for her, for the village, for justice. The villagers began to step out of hiding, witnessing what they had only heard about in fearful whispers. Their fear of the wolf melted into astonishment as he moved among the rogues, defending every inch of the village with unmatched skill. Lucas's howl split through the storm, a sound that was at once terrifying and triumphant. The rogues hesitated, as if the sound carried centuries of power and command. One by one, they retreated into the forest, vanishing into the blizzard. Hannah's eyes followed the silver blur until the last rogue disappeared. She exhaled shakily, relief flooding her chest. The villagers emerged fully, murmuring among themselves. Mr. Dawson approached Hannah cautiously. "It's him. He saved us, all of us." Hannah nodded, feeling a strange pride in Lucas, both man and wolf. "He saved me first." Lucas slowly shifted back into human form, standing tall and exhausted. His icy blue eyes softened as they met Hannah's. She felt warmth radiate from him, despite the cold snow around them. "You didn't just fight for your people," she whispered. "You fought for me too." He stepped closer, the wind catching his hair. "Always." Hannah's heart skipped a beat. In the midst of chaos, destruction, and fear, there was a moment of stillness, a connection between them stronger than snow, storm, or rogue wolves. The villagers cheered, their fear giving way to awe. But Hannah noticed that Lucas didn't bask in the attention. He looked only at her, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. He had returned not for glory, but to protect her. The village square was quiet now, dusted in fresh snow. Fires burned faintly along the street as villagers began to rebuild what had been destroyed. Children peeked from behind windows, curiosity battling the lingering fear. Hannah and Lucas stood in the center of the square. She shivered, but Lucas's presence was steady and grounding. He didn't speak at first. He simply looked at the village, then down at her, as if silently asking if she was ready. She nodded. "I'm ready." Lucas took a step closer. His hands were warm despite the cold, and his eyes held an intensity that made her heart flutter. "You led me here," she whispered, "and now we have to make things right. But I don't know if I'm strong enough to face everyone." "You don't have to face them alone," Lucas replied softly. "I'll be with you every step." Hannah's throat tightened. The first moment she realized she could trust him completely, not just as a protector, but as someone who cared. Someone who had fought through the impossible to save her. The mayor approached, cautious but grateful. "Lucas, we believed the stories. We thought you were gone." Lucas's voice was steady yet quiet. "I was exiled, but I'm back to protect this village. Not as a threat, but as a guardian." Hannah stepped forward beside him, holding his hand. "And I'm here too. Survived because of him. And now we fight together for our home." A hush fell across the villagers. Then, one by one, they began to nod, murmuring words of acceptance and awe. The fear of the wolf transformed into respect. Hannah glanced at Lucas. The man she had known as a mysterious, exiled protector, the wolf who had saved her life, was standing tall, strong, fearless, and entirely devoted. "Lucas," she whispered, gripping his hand. He looked down at her, blue eyes soft and luminous. "Yes. Thank you," she said simply. "For everything. For saving me. For saving all of us." Lucas exhaled, a sound of relief mixed with pride. "I didn't do it for thanks," he said softly. "I did it because it was right. And because I couldn't let you face this alone." Hannah smiled faintly. Snowflakes landed on her hair and eyelashes, and she realized she was crying, not from fear, but from overwhelming gratitude and awe. Around them, villagers began rebuilding the decorations, lighting candles, and carefully repairing the burned carts. Pine Grove wasn't perfect, but the spirit of Christmas survived. Lucas stepped closer, brushing a snowflake from her coat. His touch lingered. "Hannah, this night isn't over. You survived. I survived. And together, we begin again." Hannah's breath hitched. "Together." "Yes," Lucas said firmly. "No more running. No more hiding. You are part of this. And I'm not leaving your side. Ever." A soft wind blew through the square, carrying the scent of pine, smoke, and snow. The village seemed alive again, rejoicing quietly, cautiously, but with hope. Hannah reached up, touching his cheek. "Then will you stay with me?" Here. Lucas leaned down slightly, a small, almost shy smile forming on his lips. I stay, he said simply. Tonight, and every night. For the first time in what felt like forever, Hannah allowed herself to relax. The storm outside had passed. The rogues were gone. The snow fell gently, decorating the village in white. Lucas's eyes softened as he watched her. You're stronger than you realize, Hannah. And braver. This village. We've survived because of courage, love, and trust. She smiled, leaning into him slightly. Then let's make this Christmas unforgettable. Not because of fear, but because we survived and we're together. Lucas nodded, placing his hand over hers. For a long moment, they simply stood in the quiet square, the only sounds the soft crackle of fires and distant laughter from villagers returning to life. Then Lucas shifted subtly, not fully wolf, but with the aura of his power intact. He looked down at Hannah, blue eyes glowing faintly. I am your protector, he said softly. Tonight, and forever. Hannah's heart swelled. And I will stand by your side. Always. Snowflakes swirled around them, sparkling in the moonlight. Christmas Eve, which had begun in fear and chaos, ended in hope, love, and the promise of a future neither had dared to dream of. The wolf who saved Christmas Eve had returned, but this time, he hadn't just saved a girl. He had saved a village, a spirit, and a heart that would never be alone again. Hannah looked up at Lucas, her hand in his, and whispered, Merry Christmas. Lucas's faint smile mirrored hers. Merry Christmas, Hannah. The mountains echoed with howls, Lucas's protective howl, proud and victorious. The village below sparkled with lights and hope, and the snow fell gently, peaceful and eternal. Christmas Eve was saved. If you were moved by Hannah and Lucas's story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling Christmas tales of love, danger, and secrets. Hit the bell so you never miss a story where legends come alive. And comment below, would you trust a wolf who could also be a man? We want to hear your thoughts.